E.N.D here. Day 2 for the spoilers of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Kamigawa Neon Dynasty is offering us more surprises than expected. Honestly, I didn't expect Tamiyo to turn to the dark side of the Phyrexians. Anyway, let's start. And I want to start with a nice cute dog. Spirited Companion for 1 and 1 white, it's a 1-1. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Moonsnare Prototype for 1 blue, it's an artifact. Tap it, tap an untapped artifact or creature you control, add 1 colorless mana, channel 4 and 1 blue, discard it, the owner of target non-land permanent put it on top or bottom of their library. Tamiyo's completion, this is the card showing that Tamiyo was completed by the Phyrexians. 3 and 1 blue, Enchantment Aura, it has flash, enchant artifact, creature or planeswalker. Enters the battlefield, tap enchanted permanent, if it's an equipment, untouch it. Enchanted permanent loses all abilities and doesn't untap during its controller untap step. Covert Technician for 2 and 1 blue, it's a 2/4 human ninja with ninjutsu 1 and 1 blue. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may put an artifact card with mana value less than or equal to that damage from your hand onto the battlefield. Behold the Unspeakable for 3 and 2 blue, this is one of those Enchantment Saga double face. Chapter 1, creatures you don't control get -2/-0 until your next turn. Chapter 2, if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, draw 4 cards, otherwise scry 2, then draw 2 cards. Chapter 3, exile it and transform it. It transforms into Vision of the Unspeakable. It's a 0/0 spirit, flying and trample, gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand. Futuristic Agent, 3 and 1 blue, it's a 3/4 human ninja. If it's tapped, it's a human citizen with base power 1/1 and can't be blocked. 2 and 1 blue, untap it. Assassin Ink, 2 and 2 black, it's an instant. It costs 1 less to cast if you control an artifact. It costs 1 less to cast if you control an enchantment, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Therefore, if you have an artifact and an enchantment for 2 black, you will destroy target creature or planeswalker. Hotshot Mechanic for 1 white, it's a 2/1. Cruise vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. Therefore, when it's 2/1, it can cruise at 4. Azika Chariot, here I come. Prowling Nezumi for 1 and 1 black, it's a true 1 with ninjutsu for 1 and 1 black. Enters the battlefield, target creature you control gains that touch and lifelink until end of turn. Malicious Malfunction for 1 and 2 black, it's a sorcery or creature get -2/-2 until end of turn. If a creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Leech Gauntlet for 1 and 1 black, it's a 2/2 artifact creature equipment leech. Lifelink, equipped creature has lifelink. Reconfigure for 4. Soccasion Smelter for 1 and 1 red, it's a 2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1 and sacrifice an artifact. If you do, create a 3/1 red construct artifact creature token with haste. Uprising Outlaw for 1 and 1 red, it's a 1/3. It gets +2/+0 for each modified creature you control. Brown Spade Boar for 2 and 1 red, it's a 3/2 with trample. Equipped creature gets +3/+2 and has trample. Reconfigure for 5. Kappa Tech Wrecker for 1 and 1 green, it's a 1/3, it's a ninja turtle, very nice. Ninjutsu for 1 and 1 green, enters the battlefield with a death touch counter on it. Whenever it does combat damage to a player, you may remove a death touch counter from it. When you do, exile target artifact or an enchantment that player controls. Gloom Shrieker for 1, 1 black and 1 green, it's a 2/1, it's an enchantment creature cat beast. It has menace, enters the battlefield, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If it would die, exile it instead. Jukai Naturalist for 1 green and 1 white, it's a 2/2 with lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Nimble Hoverbike for 2, it's a 2/2, it has flash, it has flying, enters the battlefield, tap up to 1 target creature, crew for 1. Secluded Courtyard, it's a land, enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap, add 1 colorless. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type or activate an ability of a creature or creature card of the chosen type. Let's stop for a second here. This is one of the best uncommon cards ever printed recently in a standard set. It's a land, enters the battlefield untapped, you choose a creature type, it taps for 1 colorless, or it taps for 1 mana of any color to cast a creature type or activate abilities of a creature type that you chose. This is the perfect card for tribal, elves, humans, slivers, etc. etc. Rare cards, Tameshi Realty Architect for 2 and 1 blue, it's a 2/3 move for Wizard. Whenever 1 or more non-creature permanents are returned to hand, draw a card. Activate this only once each turn. X and 1 white, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Mirror Box for 3, it's an artifact. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Each legendary creature you control gets a +1/+1. Each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature. We need to stop here and discuss this card. Mirror Box is one of the best rare cards that we have seen so far. It removes the legend rule and pumps all your legendary creatures. Very nice card indeed. So Kenzin Cradle of Uprising, it's a legendary land, tap for 1 red, channel for 3 and 1 red. Create 2 colorless 1/1 spirit creature token. They gain haste until end of turn. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. Control 3 legendary creatures and for only 1 red you will create 2 1/1 spirit creature tokens thanks to the channel of Kenzin Cradle of Uprising. Scrap Welder for 2 and 1 red, it's a 2/3, it's a Goblin Artificer. Tap, sacrifice an artifact with mana value X, return target artifact card with mana value less than X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste until end of turn. Beating Palm Ninja for 2 and 1 black, it's a 3/3, Ninjutsu for 2 and 1 black. Enters the battlefield with a menace counter on it. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a menace counter from it. When you do, that player reveals their hand and you choose a non-land card from it, exile that card. Invoke Despair for 1 and 4 black, it's a sorcery. Target opponent sacrifice a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker. Therefore, for 5 mana, you can deal 6 damage to an opponent and you draw 3 cards, or you can make an opponent sacrifice a creature, an enchantment and a planeswalker. Very good card, even though I think it's quite heavy to cast. March of the Reckless Joy for X and 1 red, it's an instant and as an additional cost to cast the spell, you may exile any number of red cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Exile the top X cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play up to 2 of those cards. Okay, if in your hand you have unplayable cards, it's a perfect card for you. March of the Outward Delight X and 1 white. It's an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may exile in a number of white cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana value X or less. Same here. If you have cards that are unplayable, you can exile them to pay the additional cost of March of Outward Delight. Thousand Face Shadow. We already saw this card, but this is the ninja version of the card. For 1 blue, it's a 1/1 ninjutsu for 2 and 2 blue. It has flying. Enters the battlefield from your hand. If it's attacking, create a token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. That token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Tsunari Toad Rider for 2 and 1 black, it's a 3/3 human ninja. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kami, create Kami, a legendary 3/3 black-green frog creature token with. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. For 1 and hybrid mana between green and blue, it and target frog you control can be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. There's a normal version and there's also the Ninja Showcase version of Tsunari Toad Rider. Mythic cards, Kodama of the West 3. 2 and 1 green, it's a 3/3 with reach. Modified creatures you control have trample. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a basic land and put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Therefore, if you have a creature that is equipped, has an aura attached to it, or has any counter, they will have trample. I think this is a very strong card. It's a 3-drop 4/3. It's a very strong card. Junji the Midnight Sky, this is the Black Spirit Dragon. Even though all Spirit Dragons were leaked, this is the official spoiler of the card. 3 and 2 black, it's a 5/5 flying and menace. When it dies, choose 1. Each opponent discard 2 cards and lose 2 life. Put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield under your control, you lose 2 life. This was the last card in this particular Day 2 spoiler of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Join me tomorrow for Day 3 of the spoiler season of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.